We're on a real set.
Oh my gosh, hot set or whatever.
Hot set. Don't touch anything.
Hey everyone, Chris of CJC Photography, and I'm back with Eric Guilmette. And this is going to be a special interview because we are going to be talking about your debut poetry book. I'm so excited to talk to you about this because I don't even remember when this first started, last year or the year before, where you would always be posting quotes on your Instagram story, and I would always repost them. I'm like, I love these quotes. They're very, like, they got my attention. I can tell you put a lot of thought into them. They make me think about things, and I was always wanting you to post more about them. So it's really cool to be talking about your debut poetry book, Sex and Oatmeal.
Yes, Sex and Oatmeal. It's been a long time coming. I have a poem that is in this book. I'm going to give away an insider.
Ooh,
I had a poem in this book that came from a conversation that you and I had on text.
Really?
I don't even remember the context of what we were talking about.
You definitely never told me this.
But I told you, I said, let yourself enjoy something for what it is instead of not enjoying it for what it could be or couldn't be.
That sounds like a lot of the things. Because I overthink everything.
And that poem that's in this book is in the last chapter. It literally came from our conversation.
Oh, no
because
way. That's so cool.
I'm not sure if I said it to you directly, but I wrote it down after. And,
wow.
Yeah, and so
I'm only, however many pages that is, maybe like less than half, so I'm not there yet.
Yeah,
so
you're about halfway through Cold Oatmeal at the moment. Yeah,
that is so cool.
Yeah. So anyway, just parlaying off of that, I wrote because I was inspired to write about our conversation, and that's one of the cool things about being a poet is like sometimes you'll derive inspiration from the most random occurrences and random moments, and like. Again, I'm most of the times I write from my own 2 feet, like inside of my own body, like my voice.
Definitely got that.
But not all the time. Like it's like I even will embellish like in a story that I tell in poetry because there's no rules. I can write fictionally if I want to.
So it can be from other perspectives or different people.
Or it could be me dreaming about something, daydreaming about something, and having that written in there. So it's a really nice freeing place for me because there's no restrictions. Whereas
you can do whatever you want.
Whereas acting doesn't have that many restrictions, but you have to play a character. You have to be truthful to that character. I can play as many characters as I want to when I'm writing poetry. So yeah.
So first I want to say special congrats because #1 in poetry on Amazon, which is crazy. Like so wild.
So crazy to ever have that, yeah.
But I wanted to start off with, so it's called Sex and Oatmeal. Why? Where did that come from?
I think one of the coolest parts about poetry is that it's subjective. Like, I mean, art in general is a subjective, medium. Form of medium. Yeah. And so, like, you always have the ability as the viewer to determine how you feel about something, you could watch the movie that's considered the greatest movie by other people, and you could think, wow, I hated that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with...
That's very true.
Right? And so, like, for what Sex and Oatmeal means to me, it's not even going to mean the same thing to you or anyone else.
You want everyone to have their different perspective of what it means.
Yeah, okay. I mean, like, obviously, sex is sex, and and oatmeal has its own separate meaning to me.
Okay.
Than it's going to have to anyone else, and sex has its own separate meaning to me as it's going to have to anyone else. So... I think one of the cool things that Sex and Oatmeal shows is it does show the contrasts of parts of our lives. It shows something that's very complex, very intimate, very, one-to-one person type of thing. Or if you're into more than one-to-one, But whereas Oatmeal is considered a very plain, mundane, boring, like monotonous part of your life that's... You can flavor it up if you want to. You can throw as much crap in oatmeal as you can to flavor it and give it warmth, have it cold, whatever, right? Or you can just literally have it and have it just be oatmeal.
I like a little flavor.
Yeah.
I need that maple cinnamon. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so I think that it's also characterized in the 4 chapters as well. There's warm oatmeal, which is love. There's cold oatmeal, which is loss and longing and heartbreak, and sex, which is sex. And then the and represents the rest of life. So, yeah.
This actually gave me, feel free to like this or not, or use it or not, but this gave me an idea of how you're saying that you want everyone to kind of take their own interpretation about it. What if you somehow use that where people would be telling you what the title meant to them? Somehow use that.
I could use that. You haven't gotten to this page yet, but there's a page in there that I said, hey, write your own poem here.
Okay.
I literally left a page blank and said, write your own poem.
Okay.
That way, so actually left 2 pages. I left one poem with the writing on it, or one page with the writing on it, so that people could know to tag me or let me see it if they wanted to. And then another page is completely blank. And the reason why is because I want people to, at that point of the book, I want them to have whatever inspiration is going through them to be able to hit the page and run with it. So yeah.
Maybe I'll have to try writing a poem for the first time since whenever we had to do it in school, elementary school or something.
Right.
So how long did it take? What was the process like writing it?
This being my first book, this took a very long time to write because I wasn't writing for the purpose of finishing this book. You know, I wrote for about 4.5, 5 years, almost even longer than that, before I said I was done writing this book. And but I started towards the middle to end of last year, probably around Q3 of last year. I started compiling the poems and saying, okay, these poems feel like this, or this arc of emotion. These ones feel like this, and started balancing them out, and then worked with the designer and publisher and did all.
I could tell it was. Sometimes he'll give me sneak peeks and previews of things that maybe aren't public, but then sometimes he just throws it out of nowhere. I'm like, how dare you not tell me about this?
But you're doing what?
But I could feel that things were building into this eventually happening. Just the way you started even formatting your Instagram stories, I was like, oh, he's working on something.
Yeah. And then, and I released a jewelry line before the book because, I'm wearing one right now. Because I want my poems to be an experience, and I want things to live on more than just those 5 seconds that you read it or 20 seconds you read it.
Right.
I think actually one thing I took from verticals is there's so many being produced and so many being released over and over and over that the shelf life of a vertical is 2 weeks, and then people are over it and on to the next vertical.
It's kind of like songs these days. People have to release a new song every month.
It's insane, right? And so I was trying to find ways in my head. I'm like, okay, I partnered with Sam's Designs from Australia on this, and I was like, how can I make it so that I can make something that is connected to here that people can wear, and it continues the poem in the book beyond just having the book and reading it. So I have this. I have plans for some artwork that'll be coming as well, which would be very, very exciting.
Okay.
I'm literally wearing my quote right now that Romanticy Illustrated, Rachel, there's 2 Rachels that run Romanticy Illustrated, but one of them interviewed me really, really well, and she
I saw the cover.
She asked me what romanticy meant, and this is exactly like kind of the interview we're having now, where I didn't know the questions going in, and she asked me
I did offer to give them to you,
and I said no because I don't like it, and so I went into it, and she was like, "What does romanticy mean to you?" And I said, "Romanticy is escaping and refinding yourself in the same breath." And she was like, "Wow, I think that's exactly what it is."
That's so cool.
And so anyway, so she put it on a sweatshirt, quoted me, and so now poetry is just kind of a little bit of me everywhere.
I have been underlining different passages that I've liked so far, and I do think it's interesting how and it makes so much sense, depending where you are in life, you could go back and read it and think something completely different than what you originally did.
Yeah, I think that's one of the fun I don't want to give away the whole book, but chapter 4, there's another poem that's about that. It's about how...
Yeah, I'm excited to...
If you read a heartbreak poem when you're experiencing heartbreak, you'll feel seen, you'll feel understood, you'll feel like, fuck, this person felt exactly what I was feeling right now, right? But you could read a heartbreak poem when you are happily married or happily in a relationship, but it doesn't trigger anything like that in you. It just kind of is like a reminder of how good you have it or whatever, right?
Yeah, so certain ones I can... from being friends and knowing you, I'm like, oh, he was going through some things with this one or that one. Yeah. But I'm like, well, I'm not going through anything right now. So I'm like, okay, I can see I could feel where you were coming from, but I'm like, I'm not going through anything right now like that. Right. But I could tell different parts. I'm like, ooh, I think this is about this person probably.
Right. Yeah. And when that's again, it's one of the beautiful things that I've experienced releasing this book is I will read messages and read reviews that people are putting out about the book, and I'll see the ways that my words are affecting them or remind. I already got a message when we just went out to dinner right there about someone who lost their their husband, and that they felt connected to like 3 poems back to back to back in the book, and they were like, I was crying, but it was happy tears, even though the poems were sad, because it just reminded me of happy memories I had with my late husband. And so it's like, I love reading how it's affecting people, because it's just words that allow them to have their experience.
Yeah,
and
especially
that's so cool.
since if it's not how they can express things, but reading it helps them.
Yeah.
So, where did your love of poetry originate? How did that come about?
So, a few years ago, a long time ago, it feels like now, because I feel like I've lived a lot, but I was dating someone, and, anyways, we found a love of poetry together, and we started like connecting and sharing poems with each other and stuff like that. And then it got to the point that I felt inspired by my life and my love with her to write. And, and the book is dedicated to her, and it made me a writer. And it's a really cool experience to have someone leave an impact on you, that they actually open a creative outlet of you. And it pulled a part out of me that I didn't know I had in me. I have a degree in math and economics.
This man is so multifaceted.
Like, I'm a math nerd brain. Like, that's like where I come from, right? And this person opened something up in me and actually allowed me to kind of speak through my inner verses. And like, it's a really cool thing to have. So yeah, that's where it came from.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I assume people probably watched the other interview before watching this one, or maybe not. So, we first met in 2021, and I contacted him in regards to, I do romance book covers, and seeing if he would be interested in doing that. And it kind of led us to doing over 148 now, which is wild.
Wow.
And it'll be more by the time this comes out, whenever I come out with this. But so you've been on hundreds of romance novels as a model. So I want to know what it felt like and what the process was like to be releasing your first book, and now you are on the other side. You are picking the artwork or the cover image, and I'm just curious, like, how that whole process came about and what it was like.
Yeah. So I got to work with a designer that I found, third party, freelancer, who designed the entire cover wrap and the entire interior of the book. And we talked through what I wanted it to feel like, how I wanted it to flow, how I wanted there to be certain illustrations paired with certain poems. And again, this is my first time. I talk about shooting from the hip. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And so...
Fair. Well,
yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily know that because it's put together very well.
Well, I think what's I'm lucky is because I didn't have to rush this, and I had read enough poetry that I had known what style of poetry kind of like stuck with me and what felt like an experience, and what books I picked up, and I was like, this is cool, but like I don't feel connected to it. And so
like what you liked and what you didn't like.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so anyway, so this book allowed me to really do that in a very freestyle way. And even the cover, like we went through iteration after iteration, and like I was like I
saw some of them.
I was like, I don't want it to be me on the cover. I want it to be, it could be anyone. It could be, and you can tell by the guy on the cover.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like me, but he kind of doesn't. And he's broken in half. And like I wanted it to not be exactly me, because I want whoever's reading it to feel connected to it. I want it to just be the words. I don't want it to be my face reading it.
I love how it came out when he showed me, last week probably, actually, like right before it came out maybe.
Yeah.
And I think it was a very unique way to do it, because you could have very easily went a very eye candy like specific route. It could have just been
I could have put my abs on there and wrote sex and oatmeal, and the book probably would even be doing better than it is right now. Who knows?
I mean, I can instantly picture what that cover would look like.
Yeah.
See red and black and white.
Right, yeah. So anyway, so that part of it, that part, the design and all of that was very, very hands-on. I'm a little bit of a control freak in general, but
I think we both are.
Yeah, and so anyway, so I enjoyed that aspect, but the designer's phenomenal. He did a great job, and I'm so happy with the inside of it. And then on the actual release side, what it felt like releasing it, I just signed my first, this book came out a week ago, and I just, copies just went out over the last few days, right? And I just finally signed like my first cover of my book at this signing.
Yesterday.
And, that was a very surreal moment to sign. I've signed thousands of covers that are not, that's me on the cover, but it's not my book. And so it's really nice to do that. It just feels very full circle.
Yeah, especially since you had full agency over this, and normally it's an author licensing a photo from me or another photographer for their project and their vision, but this is all you, so that must feel even more special.
Yeah, it's definitely, obviously it takes a team and it takes a village to make things happen, but it does feel like, I did this. Like, I can proudly say that, so yeah, it's cool.
You sure did, and you should be proud of it.
Thanks.
So if you could only describe Sex and Oatmeal, the book, in one word or phrase. Don't say Sex and Oatmeal.
Can I use the subtitle? So the subtitle
can say whatever you want.
is a taste of love, loss, longing, and life in between. Because
that's perfect.
It's truly what it is. It is a taste, and it's how much you want to taste. You can have a whole four-piece meal if you want. 4-course meal. But if I was going to describe it myself, like just how I feel right now, it is refreshingly honest, vulnerable, and humbling all at the same time. Yeah.
I think yesterday, especially, I can see that you felt that way, like seeing it for the first time with someone else bringing it to you. It was very like, wow, you did that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So it's out in the world now. It's only been a week. Do you have plans for future books?
I do. He
doesn't wait.
What's been great is I've been so, I talked about this recently, that I knew I was done writing this book when I felt my life kind of just start to go through a different chapter into a different realm. And so then I started to write, and I knew that because of my writing. My writing started to change. I started writing like long form poetry. I started writing like 3-page poems, and I started writing stuff that was highs and lows, just similar to this one, but it just felt a little different. And so I've been writing like crazy, and which is crazy because I've been working so much. So it's like, when do you have time?
You have the time.
Yeah, right. And so, but it's been really nice. And so I have a book that is, I would say, about 70% written. It is not designed yet, but it is 70% written, and I don't have that much left to go on it. So yeah, I'll have another book, not probably anytime this year, but sometime in next year, I would say.
There's no rush.
But there's no rush. That's the thing. Is if I want to do next year, great. If not, I can slow walk my way to the year after that. Yeah.
I'm just so proud of you for releasing this. I know that it's been something you've been working on for a long time over the years, and just something that you've always been passionate about, and I'm so excited to see it.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm excited for you to finish reading it.
Yes, what I like about this, rather than reading a novel, more so, is that I usually just read maybe one at a time.
Yeah.
And then I've found myself reading maybe like 5 pages at a time. But you can put it aside and then come back to it, rather than when I'm reading a novel, I feel like I can't stop and then just keep going, because then I might forget where I left off or characters and what they were doing. But with this, I'm like, I like the taking a break. I mean, I've only had it for maybe a week, but the taking a break, coming back, and then jumping back into it, like, there is no rush. So I am very intrigued to see where it goes. But
it's the same thing. If you feel inspired to read, it's the same thing of feeling inspired to write. It's all based off of what's going on in your life. So
I'm excited to finish it. I'm excited to see what the second book is. I want a heads up on the second one. I want to see the cover before it comes out.
I'll let you be part of the design process.
All of a sudden you're like, actually, you're giving too much feedback. I don't want that.
Like, this phone number no longer exists.
But I'm so proud of you.
Thanks,
I'm
buddy.
excited for you. And everyone, check out Sex and Oatmeal.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Thanks. Cool.
Nailed it.
We are done.